And Bama football on YouTube. Today is Wednesday. It is November 5th. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? Good morning, family. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you very much for joining today's show. I sincerely appreciate y'all. Inside the comment box, please let me know where you are watching from so I could give you some AM shout outs in just a minute. Last night, the first edition of the college football rankings have been released. If you haven't seen them somehow, here's a snapshot of the rankings. We'll go heavy on the rankings this morning before I take your calls. Yes, today will be a Wednesday, normally scheduled call-in show. I can't wait to hear from you. And the topics will be college football, and it'll be Alabama versus LSU. It's your show. You let me know what you want to talk about when you call into the program. I'm going to provide my thoughts on the college football rankings after I've had some sleep, all right? I'm not mad at the rankings. There's a couple question marks that I have about the rankings. Clearly, Alabama controls its own destiny. It's a one-game season for most of these teams right here. You definitely can't afford to lose on the back end of the season, right? You'll be penalized heavily. So last night, we got the first edition of the playoff rankings, and we'll go over that throughout the show, and then I will take your calls. But first, I have to address something, okay? Is Coach Saban coming back to coach? All right, I should have asked you guys yes or no on a poll, but why don't you go ahead this morning to get the show started? Do you feel that Nick Saban will come back to coach college football? Type Y for yes, type N for no. And just let me know straight up if you think Coach Saban will come back at any point in time to coach. All right, so as you know, and kind of like tracking a little bit of the timeline, right? You had Shaquille O'Neal said that he heard through the grapevine that Coach Saban was kind of in talks with LSU, and there could be some smoke around Coach Saban going to LSU. I think even our friend, JTL, who's an LSU fan, and I'm sure there might be some LSU people watching at this point in time because LSU and Alabama are playing, that, Shaq heard that Saban and LSU were talking. So later on, this was yesterday, on Tuesday, LSU AD Verge Osbury, who's now the official AD. He was the intern for a minute. Now he's been kind of elevated to the official AD. He shut it down. He was like, look, that is not going to happen. We're not going to hire Nick Saban, okay? There's many reasons why Coach Saban is not going to LSU or coming back to college football in general, right? Not that he's lost a competitive spirit. I mean, that's always going to burn with you for the rest of your life. If you have a competitive spirit, you're never just going to be like, oh, I don't care about competing anymore. Like, that's going to be with you until you close your eyes for the rest of eternity. 100%, right? But they always say, happy wife, happy life, right? So there was a viral clip that I saw recently, and I'm sure you saw it too. I thought it was hilarious. When Miss Terry is bringing over his 74th birthday cake, and Coach Saban is chilling. He's in a blanket. He's watching TV, and she's like, sit up. But before Coach Saban blows out the candles, she's like, make a wish. But before he could blow out the candles, she's like, wish for a trip to take your family to Italy or to Greece. And Coach Saban, he's learned a long time ago that the happier Miss Terry is, the happier his life is going to be, all right? So, and I think he's done what he needed to do in college football. Would we want Coach Saban to come back and coach college football? I mean, probably. I think it would be fun to watch, but I think it's done. Sometimes in life, you just have to let things go. And I don't want to see Coach Saban coach somebody else other than Alabama, all right? I think it would be kind of fun for the first the initial part of it, but just let him do his thing. Let him live his best life. Let him continue to kill it on College game day. And college football needs to stop dreaming and let Coach Saban be, period. All right? So kind of wanted to put that to bed as I open up today's show. So look, I get it. You want a little taste of Coach Saban to come back to your program? There is zero way that he's coming back, 100%. Even if you were to pay him $25 million a season, $30 million a season, it wouldn't even make sense. Coach Saban's almost a billionaire. I don't think it's about money. I think it's about time with his family. I think it's about time, out on the golf course. I think it's with time with, his grandkids and him being present and, that he do whatever he wants. This is the golden years of his life. So let Coach Saban do his thing. By the way, he's never looked better, right? Coach Saban looks amazing, 100%. All right. As you know, it should be beautiful weather this coming weekend for Alabama and LSU. 71-degree temperature for the tailgate, a game time kick at 65 degrees, and for that fourth quarter, 62% with or 62 degrees rather, with a 30% chance of rain. I think it's going to be fantastic, a fantastic weekend. Right now, I have it in Tuscaloosa at 64 degrees already. Beautiful, beautiful temperatures. This graphic courtesy of our friends North Alabama Storm Chase. I appreciate you, man. All right, let's do some AM shout-outs and see who is up in the house this morning. And today will be a call-in show, as I said. All right, we got Young C, bro. What's up, man? Good to see you, man. It looks like you changed your avatar. Mindy Miss Careless, what's going on? Good to see you rocking with us. We have Max Tooney checking in as well. Let's see, we got North Alabama Storm Chase. We got Sean the Explorer. We got Cody B saying that Coach Saban hates NIL as well. We got Rex Green. What's up, Rex? Good to see you, brother. We got Robert Bradley Jr. We have Bruce Watson up in the house. We have Wade's World, man. Good to see you. I think I saw Jarvis in here somewhere, man. Sometimes the screen, like on how I put these on, is a little bit clunky. So if I don't like put your name, don't hold it against me. Samuel, what's up, bro? It's me, Marvin. Good morning to you. Jermaine the King. Oh, there's my boy Jarvis. Good to see you, dog. Yo, Keno, what's up, man? Yo. Eric Bostic, what's up, man? Good to see you. Yeah, Eric Bostic reminds me of Boombastic, remember? I'm Mr. Boombastic. Do you remember this? Yo, remember when Mr. Boombastic came around? That was crazy. All right, Todd, what's up, bro? Good to see you, Todd. Todd calls Indiana Paper Tiger. Todd's my dog, man. DeMarcus, good to see you, brother. Dan Caraway, what's up, man? Dan Caraway's, man. Dan Caraway is the GOAT, 100%. Blissful Love, what's up? Yo, I'm going to tell you something about Blissful Love. She'll come to bat for you. She's an Alabama fan through and through. You don't mess with anybody. Blissful Love got your back, 100%. Appreciate the vibes. Jonathan, what's up, man? Good to see you. Andre, what's up, man? Morning, Kyle. Did you see Miss Terry tell Coach? Yes, I just talked about it. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, Sean, you're on that Mr. Boombastic, right? I'm Mr. Lover. Todd Rising, what's up? Woke up a little salty. He's saying the playoff committee absolutely trash. I got a couple takes on the playoff committee, and then I'll take your calls today. All right, I can't wait to hear from you guys. It's been a little bit. All right, yeah. See, I know that Miss Blissful Love. I got you. All right, guys. It's good. I think we got a good crew on, 100%. All right. All right, what I learned from this committee last night. All right, here's a nice shot of me over here to the left. I learned that the committee values the number of overall wins. Well, duh, but still, it's like if BYU is number 7 in the rankings, it really doesn't matter to me where you are ranked in what conference that you play in, okay? Because I don't think that the strength of schedule, right, really matters compared to the number of wins. Do you agree with me? It's like if you just, and I say this frequently on my shows, and you might think it's ridiculous, but I think it's 100% fact. If Alabama didn't play in the SEC, if Alabama just played a cupcake schedule and they went independent like Notre Dame and they played Notre Dame's schedule, if Alabama played BYU's schedule, I could show you BYU's schedule. I have it. I have all the data, all right? So you want to go head to head, you could talk whatever you want, but data is data, all right? And I feel that if Alabama went independent, they could still get their TV contract, they could play whoever they wanted to, and they could be 8-0 right now. And they would be, number 1 in the college football playoff rankings because of their brand and because of their record, right? So I think what I learned and I continue to see from the committee is just win games. That's it. It doesn't matter. I don't care about how hard your schedule was. All I care about is you winning games. It doesn't even matter who you're beating. It's about winning games, okay? So strength of the conference also doesn't matter. I really feel that the committee doesn't value, and I don't think they're valuing top to bottom of the SEC. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things that's bothering me this morning is I feel that the SEC is probably as deep as it's ever been, right? You go 1 through 7, 1 through 8 in the SEC. I strongly feel that Tennessee that Vanderbilt, that Oklahoma would win the ACC, would win the Big 12, would definitely win the AAC. You see what I'm saying? So, like, those teams are getting left out of the playoffs because they're being penalized from playing in the toughest conference in college football, right? I also learned that they love Indiana, they love Ohio State, and I have a couple of quotes from the committee chair, who is named Max Rhodes. I'll show that in just a minute. And look, he said each of these teams have a really good defense, and they gave Ohio State the #1 spot because of the players that they have on offense, some absolute playmakers. I think we all know who he's talking about. They did give Alabama love last night, which I do appreciate. And they said, look, Alabama football, no other team has gone through that type of a stretch and came out victorious week after week after week after week. So I do feel that even though, they don't weight strength of schedule, they do recognize what Alabama has done against top 25 teams. I feel that they are allowing BYU and Texas Tech to kind of battle it out, right? 7 versus 8, and those two teams do play this weekend. So kind of allowing for one of those teams to exit the playoffs depending on who loses this weekend, which I think will probably be BYU. Did you know Texas Tech is favored by 10.5 in that game? All right, the ACC will only get one team in. I guess that's my biggest takeaway. It'll probably either be Georgia Tech or Virginia, who they have in right now. Notre Dame hasn't made in the shade, and we've talked about this a bunch of different times. Notre Dame figured out a way to kind of just slide into the playoffs year after year. And the committee chair, and I'll show you this quote in here in a second, it said, look, even though Notre Dame lost two times, okay, they lost to good football teams. So they lost to A&M and they lost to Miami. And they're like, well, they've won 6 games in a row, so it's the way that you've been playing lately. I just have a really hard time believing if Alabama lost two times, that they would be kind of in that top 12. I think they would be judged harshly, in my opinion. And lastly, don't lose late in the season. You can't. That's why it's so important for Alabama football to continue this one-game mindset. And look, these are all rat poison. The college football rankings at this point in time kind of give us a snapshot of how the committee is viewing things. But if you lose one particular time, right, then you are at risk of missing the college football playoff rankings, right? So at a glance, the first college football playoff rankings look like this per conference. And you have the Big Ten over here on the left. You have Ohio State, Indiana, Oregon. You have the SEC. You have A&M, Bama, and Georgia, right? The Big 12, you have 2 teams in, BYU and Texas Tech. The ACC, you have 1 team in, which is Virginia. The AAC, you have Memphis. And then independent, you have Notre Dame, who is currently seated at 12. So, like I said, I felt, and I think in a lot of different models, and like I said, I don't watch any other shows, but I'd be curious to hear if any other big college football analysts have the SEC with more than 3 teams. Actually, that should be, I need to add Ole Miss in there. So that should be 4 teams from the SEC. But is there any college football analyst that has more than 4 teams in the playoffs? For example, like I would like to have, I think Ole Miss is 6 right there. Update that. But I think it makes sense to have, the conference that is weighted the heaviest have the most teams in the playoffs. For example, I think when all said and done, Vanderbilt still has a shot to get in there. I think Texas, depending on how they finish out the season, although it will be hard to beat Georgia and Texas A&M, but those are 2 teams that I'm kind of watching. I do have Texas in my playoffs, as I have discussed. The Big 12 currently has 2 teams in the current college football rankings, which are BYU and Texas Tech. ACC has 1, which is Virginia, really the conference champ, right? And then the AAC is Memphis, and then, of course, the independent is Notre Dame. That makes sense to you, fam? Hey, and Jarvis, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for being a fan funder for 21 months. And I think we had Case as well kind of light up on the screen. See if I can find that. Case and Jarvis, thank you so much, bro. 16 months, 11 months. I really appreciate you guys supporting Bama football on YouTube, 100%. So, something that I'm watching is the number of teams that get into the playoffs from the SEC. I'm thinking it'll be 5, right? Hunter, what's up, dog? Good to see you. Let's see what Hunter has to say. What up, Kyle? Finally got a chance to catch it live. Tuning in from Austin, Texas. That's what's up, dog. Next time I'm in Austin, hit me up. We go to 6th Street together, right? I still never been to Austin, believe it or not. I've been all around the world, but I've never been to Austin. Not yet. All right, the top 6 remaining schedules. All right, and I appreciate you guys. I put all the rankings together. So if there might be an error every once in a while, just let me know. It's all good. It's very easy for me to fix things on the fly, but I put a lot into the rankings, and I want you to have something aesthetically pleasing to look at as we're going over the rankings and talking shop right here on Bama Football on YouTube. So I thought about this. I was like, let's see what the top 6 remaining games for each of the 1 through 6 look like. So starting at the left, you have Ohio State, at Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers, and at Michigan. I think the only, team that there might be a slip up for Ohio State would be Michigan, but Michigan's not beating Ohio State without Justice Haynes, right? So you got to kind of think that Ohio State ends the season 12-0 on the season. A very high probability that has to happen. And I think the Big Ten, while you have, let's say 2 really good teams, the overall conference, my goodness, it's not it, right? And I understand the 2 national champs the last 2 years have come from that conference, but as a whole, the Big Ten is not very good this year. Indiana, they finished with Penn State, Wisconsin, and Purdue. They should be able to finish out 12-0 as well in the Big Ten championship game. Should feature 2 teams that are combined 24-0 on the season. All right, that'll be entertaining to watch for sure, and I think Ohio State probably slice them up. All right, Texas A&M, they finished with a trip to Missouri, then South Carolina, Samford, and Texas. It's not the most challenging ending. I think the one at the back end against Texas, depending on how Texas is playing, that will probably be must-watch TV, especially if Texas is able to somehow beat Georgia here in a couple weeks, which, I mean, who knows? I mean, Texas has been so inconsistent. I don't know what they're capable of. Plus, I say that is like Georgia's had to come from behind to beat pretty much everybody, right? Bama finishes out with a tough schedule. LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, and Auburn. I think we clearly know LSU, the talent that's on that team. Oklahoma, the number 9 defense in the country, and Brett Venables. And then on the back end, Auburn, who knows what they're capable of. Plus, the game is over in Auburn, so who the hell knows? Number 5, you have Georgia, Mississippi State, Texas, Charlotte, and Georgia Tech. I know Georgia Tech just had a slip-up recently, but you got to think that Georgia is primed to finish out 11-1 and would be the team that would jump Alabama if Alabama does have a slip-up to be in the SEC championship game, right? Because they do have a head-to-head over Ole Miss. Ole Miss finishes out with a very favorable schedule, taking on the Citadel, Florida, and Mississippi State. So you got to think that Lane Kiffin and the Rebels finish out 11-1 on the season, right? So kind of a snapshot. So 12-0, 12-0, 12-0, 11-1, 11-1, 11-1, and then Oregon probably finish out 11-1 as well. That's kind of your top 7. The top 25 wins this season. Now, it was interesting how the playoff committee added top 25 wins and how I looked at top 25 wins. So where I pulled my data from was from ESPN per where the teams played each other back when they were ranked. So, for example, Ohio State, when they played Texas, Texas was number 1, right? The committee has a different way of looking at it, but still it kind of shakes out the same way. So, as you can see, Alabama has the most wins against top 25 teams this season. And if you go by, the metrics that we have here, Ohio State, Indiana, and Texas A&M, they've beaten 2 top 25 teams during that point of the season. Now, some of those teams are no longer ranked in the top 25, but some are. So, for example, like Iowa is ranked in the top 25. Indiana beat Iowa head-to-head 20-15. Either way, I just wanted to illustrate this because Alabama has beaten the most top 25 teams in the entire country, which I think is a gigantic stat, right? Okay, so this is interesting. So following the college football playoff rankings last night, this is Mac Rhodes, and he is the selection chair. And he was discussing how they ranked Ohio State as the number 1 football team, right? So I'll read this out. This is a quote from him. There were some robust conversations discussing about number 1 through 3. All 3 of them are undefeated. Ohio State versus number 11 Texas, and a win over number 23 Washington. Indiana beat number 9 Oregon and number 20 Iowa. Both defenses and both offenses are ranked in the top 5. But when we looked at the film, we just felt that Ohio State had a slight edge when we think about the offensive line play and the slight edge defensively. That was really the outcome. Ohio State has some, I'm going to call them explosive players that probably stood out as well. So I don't think that anyone is shocked this morning to wake up and see that Ohio State is ranked number one. I think people would probably be, I think at least have questions about Indiana being 2 above even Texas A&M. But I think it tells us the committee weighted that win against Oregon on a very high value. Now, that doesn't say that they, did anything against Alabama's win against Georgia, because here's what they had to say against Alabama in their win in Athens. When you look to Alabama's resume, I'm not sure that anybody had a better 4-game stretch than Alabama. 2 of those wins were on the road, including one at Athens, one of the toughest environments in college football. Nobody has beaten 4 straight ranked opponents without a bye. Alabama did that. And they're getting an elite quarterback play right now from Ty Simpson. So the committee did show Alabama love, I feel, and I'm glad that they pointed out those 4 wins against top 25 teams. So once again, this is all rat poison. It's just about Alabama winning the next few games on their schedule, right? This was an interesting one for me, is like Notre Dame, because I'm always asking about Notre Dame. So the committee chair was asked about Notre Dame, and he says this: I think it starts with the 2 losses. Total of 4 points, right? They lost to Miami and they lost to Texas A&M against 2 very, very good football teams. We talked, I think, early defensively, maybe they weren't as good as we thought they would be, but certainly most recently, it seems like they've been much, much better defensively. 6 straight wins. You look at their backfield, right? With Price and Jeremiah Love, probably the best backfield in the country when you think about a 1-2 punch. Football team on both sides of the football team, or both sides of the ball. So, like, Notre Dame is going to be there. I mean, they finish out with a very winnable schedule. They play Navy upcoming. I would imagine, they get a lot of, notoriety from beating a 7-1 team. And kind of here's what we look to for the Week 11 schedule. Look, the committee loves Notre Dame, and I think we just have to accept that Notre Dame is going to be one of the teams that does make the playoffs, and they have a conference championship game, and they did lose to Miami, right? And Miami's kind of out there, but now with Miami losing twice, they're not going to make the playoffs. So kind of the marquee games this weekend, obviously outside of Alabama and LSU, is you have BYU taking on Texas Tech. Who wins this game, by the way? And as you can see at the bottom, Texas Tech is favored by 10.5 against BYU. Type B for BYU, type T for Texas Tech. To be honest, I think Texas Tech wins this game, right? If BYU wins this game, I mean, they're 9-0 and maybe one step closer to locking up that playoff spot. We also have Oregon taking on Iowa. And then we have Navy taking on Notre Dame. Right? Okay, so it looks like, the early have voted, and it seems like Texas Tech favored to win that game against BYU. Again, favored by 10.5 against a team that's ranked 7th. I mean, my goodness, how good is Texas Tech? Right? Or how bad is BYU to be an 8-0 team and to be a 10-point dog going on the road to Lubbock? Right? All right, we got Denny at least going for BYU. Ethan, what's up, bro? Good to see you, man. Welcome on in, Cody, as well. Good morning to you. All right. The rest of the college football playoff schedule looks like this. So last night, right, the rankings came out, and then next Tuesday. So, I mean, look how many more rankings we have up until the finals. The finals isn't until December 7th. So we have really a month of rat poison before we get to the actual rankings. And think about how many things can change up to that point in time. So as you know, it's a week-by-week process, but we will still look at the AP polls on Sunday, and then we will just, kind of navigate into Tuesday for the college football playoff rankings. All right, so the phone line is now open. You want to call in, it is 205-850-1994. All right, I'll feature your guys' comments and some of the hot topics, clearly, you can ask about or, regarding the college football playoffs. We also have Alabama versus LSU, clearly. Ty Simpson for Heisman. Bama's running game, or lack thereof. The remaining schedule for Alabama. Who will Auburn hire? or you could just ask me a general question. All right, so let's get to it. I'll go to the phone lines and let's see who's popping on this morning. We got a 256. Hey, good morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
This is Daryl from Huntsville.
Hey, Coach Daryl, what's up, bro? Good to hear from you, man. It's been a minute. You doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing fine, man. I've been fine. I just I'm glad to see the popularity of the show has shot up. As I've been trying to call for about 3 months, and I hadn't been able to get in.
Oh man, so just to give you a heads up, Coach. So we do the call-in show. I've been taking calls Wednesday and Friday, and then for post-game as well. So those are the 3 opportunities that you can get to. So I appreciate you, man. It's been a minute. Come with it. Welcome in, Coach Dell calling in from Huntsville.
Well, Kyle, you always got the T. There's no doubt about that, because when you look right down and you analyze the committee, Alabama hatred, people get they get mad when you say it, but Alabama hatred is still there. It's still real. It always has been. Nothing's changed. So I'm just hoping, that again, you gotta give the coach credit, the board credit. He's done a great job of coaching, because this is a very flawed Alabama team. Very flawed. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When have you seen an Alabama team that can't run the football, especially inside the red zone? We can't run the ball. When have you seen an Alabama team that don't tackle? We don't tackle well. We turn 2-yard gains into 20-yard gains, and our coverage, it can be hit or miss at all times, because Damani Jackson can't cover an elephant in a phone booth. So. It's flawed, but they've done a good job covering this patch and covering that patch, over here, over there. They've done a good job, and they're still trying to tell me that Proctor he has improved, but they try to tell me he's a first-round draft pick. I don't see it, because anytime the anybody who has a lean build and can bend, they go by him like he's standing still 9 out of 10 times. So we got to be ready. Now, he's had some great games. I'm not going to take credit from it, but I tell you what I'm seeing. So, when we got this LSU game, and then we got the Oklahoma game. Oklahoma presents they got a very good defense, and they also got a running quarterback. And I'm trying to figure out, like the game against South Carolina, we knew the guy was going to run. We couldn't tackle him. And we took bad rush angles. And then our defensive coordinator, I'm not sold on him at all. You got a third. I don't know if you remember the play against South Carolina. You got a 3rd down and 12. Now, you hadn't blitzed too much the whole game. You call an all-out blitz on 3rd and 12, and they pick up 17 yards. So there's a lot of I mean, I'm not trying to be overly critical. I'm just telling you what I see. And what I'm seeing is, number one, from the committee, I'm not shocked at all by that, because as far as they're concerned, they would rather not for us to even be in there, because jealousy is real and the hatred is real. Number 2, we have a flawed team. And number 3, we actually have a good chance to do something monumental. We actually could compete. I think right now, the only team I've seen that's dominant in the nation, to me, and of course, again, they really hadn't been tested, is Ohio State. But I've seen Indiana play a couple of games. They're a lot better than people think they are. They're very well coached. And they're not going to beat themselves. They're not going to go out there and fumble the ball, throw interceptions, penalties, offensive, defensive penalties. They're very well coached. So that'll be the only time Michigan, Ohio State will have a chance. I think they'll give Ohio State all they want. But if I'm betting, of course, I'm going to bet on Ohio State. And Kyle, I'm glad to see your show is prospering, man. And I'm sorry I hadn't been able to get in.
Appreciate you, man. I'm glad you're doing well, Coach Darrell. Blessings your way, bro. And we'll catch up with you soon, bro. Thanks for calling in, man.
All right. Always my pleasure.
Yep. All right, man. Take it easy. All right, Coach Darrell calling in from Huntsville. We got an 8:05 coming in next. Hey, thanks for joining the program. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. It's Cody from Crestview, Florida.
What's up, Cody? Welcome to the show, bro. I hope you're off to a good start, man. Come with it.
Sorry about the playoff stuff. I don't like Notre Dame because every time Notre Dame is basically my outhouse after Mexican food. So that's one part for Notre Dame. Two, I don't like we face Georgia, even though it's actually there was CBS Sports kind of put Ohio State and Alabama in the semifinals because we're going to beat Georgia and put Ohio State in there. They wanted Ohio State and A&M in the finals. I was thinking, no, you got one chance to put Alabama and A&M. I was thinking with, Indiana, they wanted BYU to beat Indiana. I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I'd probably put Indiana over BYU or Notre Dame. But I think the people up in the playoff brackets is they said strength and schedule. That's the second opinion. How do you not put strength of schedule? Because Josh Pate said you can put Bama at 2 because of the strength and schedule over Indiana and A&M. A&M has got a good resume, but the strength of schedule is not nearly as good as Alabama's 6-win streak. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to put Alabama, I put Alabama at 2 because of the strength and scheduling. But right now, it's fine as is. I still think we can still win the national championship as far as I know of. But I think our hardest, ways is if we go to the semifinals in that match, it's going to be a lot tougher because we do not know how healthy everybody's going to be. And we don't know, like Ohio State, as good as Ohio State is, we really don't know, like, the flaw of Ohio State, like what's the weaknesses, because they haven't shown it yet till probably at the end of the Big Ten championship is where I would say the flaws is going to break out for. But roll tide, everyone. I got Texas Tech over BYU. I want Navy to beat Notre Dame. So I want them 2 guys out of the playoffs. So, thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, I appreciate it, brother. Thanks for calling in, man. All right, that was Cody out in Florida. Yeah, I appreciate the call, bro. Yeah, kind of some negative feedback on Notre Dame. I feel the same way. It's like, I've been talking about Notre Dame. I get it. They've lost 2 games. I feel, and I've told you guys many different times that I feel that Notre Dame, you have to beat them, 3 or 4 times to get them out of the college football playoff rankings. They have won 6 games in a row. It seems like the college football committee really likes their running game in the backfield. We'll just have to see if they can hang on. 469, let's do it. Hey, welcome to the show. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
It's Quincy, Kyle, calling in from Texas.
Hey, Q, what's up, dog? I appreciate you calling in, man. I hope you're having a good day, man. Welcome to
yes, sir.
Yeah, welcome to the show, man. Come with it.
Okay, so I heard the guy say we can't run the ball. No, we can run the ball. Just got to be consistent in running the ball. That's how I feel about that. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it because I talk about it every time I call you about the running game.
Oh.
But anyway, with this college playoff, man, I think Texas A&M is clear number 1. Man, I watched them play, and I go back and watch games, and I don't see no flaws on their defense or their offense. They have speed everywhere. At every position, they have speed. And with Ohio State, I'm going to tell you something, Ohio State can be beat. Texas should have beat them when they went down there with young Arch Manning in the first big game. They should have beaten him. He missed some throws. But I don't see them just as dominant as everyone say they are. I don't see it. So I think a trick game for Alabama is Oklahoma. Everybody's talking about LSU. I don't think they're going to have a problem with LSU. I think they're going to run through there and just beat the brakes off of LSU. That's just how I feel. But the setup game is Oklahoma. I think I've been saying all year, Oklahoma is a tough team, man, and they are. Their quarterback is back healthy now. I think that's going to be a little issue for Alabama. They better not look over them, and you can't make no mistakes with them. Because Oklahoma got a great D-line. And with the running game, when we get to the doggone goal line, stop putting Proctor back there running the ball. You're going to get him hurt. Stop it. All it takes is one guy to just cut his knees or roll up on his ankle, and then you don't have him on the O-line. Let's cut that crap out, man. Play smash-mouth football, run the ball to the outside. That way you give your running backs a little time, or they can pick and choose what hole they want to go to. But running up the middle, that's not our strength. That's just not it. Like I said last time I called, how many times did them guys been getting tackled in the backfield? Get the ball to the outside. They got the speed. All of them can make cuts. All of them is good enough to run to the outside. Just do it. Just do it. And that's all I got to say about that.
Hey, before you go, Q, I got a couple questions for you real fast, all right? So, as you know, the video is powered by Sleeper, all right? So we know that.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question for you. Let me write this down, the time, 35. Okay, so Q, got a real quick question for you. And this is more or less, all right? This video is powered by Sleeper, as you know. So Ty Simpson, in terms of passing yards, more or less for Ty Simpson, 268 against LSU?
Less.
All right, more or less. He's saying less. How about you, fam, inside the comment box? More or less for Ty Simpson at 268 against LSU? I don't know, Q. You think less?
I think less because LSU, they two things LSU usually have: good wide receivers and cornerbacks.
All right, let me ask you this one.
Who
okay,
you think? Who? Okay,
this would be a good one for you. More or less, Jam Miller. Let's see, 52 yards, more or less. Jam Miller.
Less, because I don't think they're gonna stick to the running game.
So they think they go less? Yeah. Okay. So you got less on Ty and less on Jam. Okay. Anything else, Q?
Yeah. No, that's. I just don't think they're gonna stick to the running game. They never do. I mean, they run, and them guys get stopped a couple times. They just stop running the ball. So the boys are pass first coach, and that's just how it is.
Yep. All right, man. All right.
Follow his coaching history.
Yep. All right. Appreciate it, Q.
All right, man.
Take it easy, bro. All right. Late.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know, Q brings up an interesting question, and I'll go ahead and put up the sleeper poll right here. Sleeper poll. All right. More or less, Ty Simpson, 268 passing yards. Type in more or less, fam, inside the comment box. And as you know, this video is powered by Sleeper. You could use the promo code, which is tailgate. Get a $100 deposit match available in 25 states. Terms and conditions apply. Right now, if you just download the app, you get $20. So definitely check out Sleeper. It's something that I use for the game. Makes it fun to play more or less. Plus, you got to get on it for your fantasy football. And I know, Jarvis, didn't you clean up on Sleeper just recently? Let the fam know what you got inside the comment box. And I think Josh Johnson as well. So my poll right now, Sleeper poll, more or less, Ty Simpson, 268 yards passing versus LSU. We go to our next phone call. Let's take a 251. All right, thanks for calling in. You're online with Kyle Anderson. Who am I online with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Matt from Mobile, Mattress Matt.
Hey, Matt, what's up, dog? Welcome in the show, bro. Come with it.
So one thing I wanted to say is about the running game. I've been thinking this for about a week.
Okay.
I got on there and was looking at Vanderbilt, Missouri, and I was rewatching a couple of games. Like, what is going on with our running game?
Yeah.
And so one thing I noticed when we do like a traditional handoff, where Ty Simpson can either be in shotgun or he can just be taking the snap, just a traditional run play. Our yardage per carry is really, really low.
Yeah.
When we do a run play where he either pitches the ball back to where the runner starts off in space.
Yeah.
We get way more yardage.
Interesting.
When the runner has another couple of steps of space before he gets to the first defender, because he can generate some speed and some momentum to where when he touches that first defender, he's able to fall forward for a few more yards. Our yards per carry, it seems like on a pitch back run play where the runner has a lot of space, we get like 7 or 8 yards a carry. Or when there's a misdirection run play where the offensive line is getting the defense moving in one direction, and then the runner is given the ball in the other direction. So like a misdirection run plays and like pitch back sweep type run plays, we're getting a lot of yardage. Another thing I noticed is on the traditional handoffs, and I heard Ryan Grubb talking about our runners need to hit the hole better. One thing I think is that Ryan Grubb doesn't understand running back play. When he says he wants the running back to hit the hole better, he's talking about the hole that he's assigned to hit on that play. So if he's assigned to hit a certain hole on that play, what I notice is the running backs are really trying to hit the hole that they're assigned to hit, which that hole might be closed. Because there's a lot of times where the runner has a huge gap that they could run through, and they choose not to even hit the open lane. They turn away from the open lane that they could run through, and they go to the wall of defenders because they're so focused on hitting the hole that they're assigned to rather than finding the open lane and hitting that.
Hey, so Matt, I have a question for you then. All right, since you're on the running game, more or less for Jam Miller, 52 yards against LSU.
More. I think we figured something out on the run game.
All right, so
in the second half of.
In my last question to you, Matt, would you like to see a little bit more of Kevin Riley, or have you been happy that they're working in Daniel Hill, or is it kind of like a three-headed attack?
A three-headed attack. The running back is irrelevant. It's the scheme.
Yeah.
And the plays that we're calling.
I 100% agree. Good call, Matt. I appreciate you, dog. Thanks for calling in, man.
All right, brother.
All right.
Bye.
Good buddy, Matches Matt calling in from down in Mobile. We got a 813. Case, what's up, man? I appreciate you calling in.
What's going on, Cal? How you doing?
Yeah, good, man. We got Case in from Tampa. Come with it, dog.
Hey, I just want to say, there's a lot of, especially online, stir up on the rankings, and it's the first one.
Yeah.
So, it all is going to work itself out. I mean, I do agree. I think the Big 12 is being overrepresented. I mean, I understand that BYU is undefeated and they're 8-0, and Texas Tech bought their whole roster and they're 8-1. They look good. And I'm not going to deny, Texas Tech does look good. I've got them beating BYU, but it's just, it is a very competitive league, and it's very, unpredictable. Yeah, you don't know who's going to beat who. Mississippi State beat Arizona State, and Arizona State beat Texas Tech. Who is the best team in the Big 12? Nobody knows, really, until the very last conference championship. But I'm not sold on the Big 12 teams truly being, number 7 and number 8. And some people, maybe this is just rat poison. I'm not really sold on Texas A&M either.
Yeah.
They don't play the hardest schedule, and I know they beat Notre Dame because Tyler Buckner dropped an extra point. They were only able to score 16 on Auburn. They didn't look that convincing over Arkansas. It was only a 3-point game at the end of it, and they let Utah State score over 20 points on them. I know that's the beginning of the season, and look at Alabama. We lost to Florida State, and we got better and better every week. But I'm just maybe I'm just used to that Jimbo Fisher style Texas A&M where they start off strong and fizzle out. Maybe this is a different team this year, and they really are the cream of the crop. But That's just going to have to be wait and see because they have a tough schedule to finish out with Missouri, South Carolina, and Texas. But overall, I'm happy. I'm happy with the rankings. I think that they, for the most part, got it right. I'm fine with Alabama being placed lower. If anything, it just makes people overlook us.
Yeah, I think, like you said in the beginning, it'll all work itself out. I kind of look at the rankings, the initial rankings, at least kind of as a base camp. And you're like, okay, this is what they're exactly looking for. And look, they did give Alabama props. I don't think they threw Alabama under the table or anything like that. They put them in the top 4. They recognize that they ran through those 4 opponents consecutively. They do like the Big Ten teams. They really do. And I think when you lift up like teams under the hood, though, as I was doing, I don't know if you caught my pre-show last night before the rankings drop, like a team like Oregon, you look at Oregon and I think they kind of just have this name that they're good. But if you pop open the hood, you have a hard time finding one quality win for a team like Oregon, right? You really do. I mean, their best win is going to Penn State and beating Penn State in overtime. Outside of that, their next best win might be a 14-point win over Wisconsin. So, yeah, is Oregon good? I guess, but that's Indiana's best win. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, how good are these, Indiana and Oregon? And I get it. A lot of people like Indiana where they're at. I'm just saying, if you pop open the hood, I think you can really see that there's some flaws within the Big Ten scheduling and the lack of quality teams in that conference. Anything else, Case?
Oh, nothing. I'm just excited to see this LSU game. I think that a lot of people are saying they got rid of Brian Kelly and it's not going to be that big of a deal. Listen, man, look what happened with UCLA.
Yep,
look what happened with all these teams that have fired their head coach.
Yeah, 100%.
Florida played multiple teams down to the wire now. So I would not go in and just assume that it's a W. I would expect it to be a good fight. Maybe we cover maybe like 10 points.
Yep. Okay. All right. Good call, Case. I appreciate it, bro.
Appreciate it. Take care.
All right. You too, man. All right. We got Angel up in no, this isn't Angel. I don't. Let's see who we got up in here. All right. Thanks for calling. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle. It's Parker from Pensacola.
Hey, Parker. What's up, man? I appreciate you calling in. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you very much for joining us from Pensacola. Just talking some college football rankings. I have a couple trending topics on the board. We talking college football playoff rankings, Alabama, LSU, Ty Simpson for Heisman, Bama's lack of running game, remaining schedule, who should the barn hire or fire next? Maybe that's a better way to put it, right? Who should Auburn fire next? And or you could just ask me a general question. So with that said, man, Parker, welcome to the show, bro.
I just have a general playoff scenario for Alabama's sake, and I know we got 3 more games on the schedule. But I'm just saying if Bama were to run the table and lose that title game,
yeah.
We're still in the playoffs, going 10-2 or whatever it would be. 11-1 and then losing that title game. They're not gonna keep us out of the playoff, would they?
Yeah. So Parker is asking if Alabama wins its regular season schedule, they would finish 11-1. They would go into the SEC championship theoretically playing Texas A&M. Texas A&M beats Alabama. Alabama finishes out stands at the final podium of the college committee with an 11-2 record, having just lost. I do not think that Alabama would be penalized that much, being that they lost the conference championship game in the SEC. However, I think it would be interesting to see if they're kicked out of that top 4 spot. Maybe, probably. It kind of depends on who else is winning. But if you don't win the SEC championship game, your risk of now hosting a game and then having to play another game, the chances on that go up, which I don't necessarily think that's a bad deal, because I feel when Alabama is playing consecutive games, they get hot and they can continue to roll. So if Alabama was like a 5 seed, right? I know you host a home game and then you go on to play number 4 in a bowl game, and then you have to play the semifinal game. I actually kind of like that better, because sometimes I feel that you stay hot that way, right? So like a couple seasons ago, I think they would have beat Michigan if they would have played them right after Georgia. And then there was all that time. And think about this. During December, every single thing is packed into December. So you have the transfer portal window, right? Like that. Well, that used to be there, but you have signing day. You have coaches getting fired and hired and all that sort of stuff. So there's a lot going on within that window. You have obviously the holiday. So a lot of moving parts in that particular window. So I don't like time off for any of the teams. But I don't think that Alabama will be penalized if they get to that point and they do lose. Maybe so because they lost at the beginning of the season, but I think they'll be fine. You just got to make the SEC championship game. It's a one-game season from here on out, whether you play 7 or 8 games. What else you got, Parker?
I mean, that's basically it. So yeah, I was just kind of curious about, because we got LSU, we got Choklahoma, as I call them. Because what happened last year, 24-3. God, I was like, I kept going into that game going, we got this, and then we got the Iron Bowl. So I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
So I guess we just got to win out.
Yeah.
Just keep winning. One game at a time, as Nick Saban would always say. Don't look ahead. Don't look ahead.
Yeah, and like you said, and even like Ty Simpson yesterday when he was talking to the media, he was like, "Look, you're remembered for what you do in November," and he's absolutely right. I mean, if you lose a game here to LSU, you lose a game to Oklahoma or to Auburn, people remember that sort of stuff, and they still haven't even clinched a spot in the SEC championship game. So while we're like, yeah, they're number 4, well, yeah, in make believe land, you ever seen that movie Hook where like they're eating the fake food? That's exactly the part of the show we're at right now. It's like it's all fake food. So we could talk about it and dream about it, but until you're actually in Atlanta and playing Texas A&M, then it's real. But we are living way ahead of ourselves right now. Thanks for the call, Parker.
Thanks. Have a great game.
Yeah,
Kyle.
You too, bro. All right, man. We got 256. Hey, thanks for joining the show. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
Yes, sir, Mr. Kyle. This is Philando Matthews calling from Camp Hill, Alabama.
Hey, Philando, what's up, brother? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. This is what I got in my mind on this game this week, Kyle, LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I think that Ty Simpson gonna go out. He gonna ball out this week. I say he gonna throw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Mm.
And now let me get on the running game. I think Jam Miller gonna get the start, but I think it's time for Daniel Hill time to take the show. That big fella can run that thing. He like what 6'1", 240. So I'm gonna say Daniel Hill get 2 touchdowns and go for 115-yard rush. What you think?
Like some previous callers said, I don't think it has anything to do with the running backs. I think all the running backs are suited to, pick up yards in an offense that is suited a little bit better from, I think, a schematic standpoint. That's like kind of the only thing that I have against Grubb is sometimes the scheming. I think we lost Orlando, but I'll answer anyways. I feel that sometimes the scheming doesn't make complete sense with Ryan Grubb, but I do feel that it's kind of an offensive line issue rather than the running back. So whether it's Daniel Hill, Jam Miller, or Kevin Riley, I think each of those guys can get the job done, and I am confident that at some point they will be able to establish some sort of a run game. That might even be Ty Simpson, but I'm going to tell you this. Look, in this new age of college football, I think that stay with me here. I do feel that Ryan Grubb and Kalen DeBoer, kind of in this new age, have been able to figure out that some of the run game is kind of like a new age, short, high efficiency passing game. And that's kind of their run game. Does that make sense? Like these short little passes are kind of like their running game. So and think about it. Alabama doesn't go downfield often. I don't know if that's because of Ty Simpson's, maybe that's one of his Achilles heels is like a deep ball or lack thereof. But I feel that they've been able to figure out that if it's high efficiency passes and Ty Simpson going through his progression, they can move the sticks. And that's something that they've been able to do. So I think we lost for Orlando, but a good call in terms of asking about, the running games. So do I have any questions inside the comment box that you guys want to ask me? I think we might have even been disconnected slightly from the phone line. So I'm sorry about that, but we're already at that 11 a.m. window. Is there any other questions that you guys want to put out? Yeah, I know there's some of the I see some stuff about the Facebook stuff out on social media. There are a couple good, like, there's some really good Facebook channels, clearly. Bama Football on YouTube is certainly one to follow, but there's also ones that they make up these fake stories. Have you seen these? They make up these fake stories that are like AI generated, and the crazy thing is they're not necessarily negative, right? So it'll be like Ty Simpson saved 10 cats from a fire, and Ty Simpson will be standing there with like all the cats, so they exist. I don't know how these sites continue to operate, but they get a lot of engagement and a lot of people are talking about them, but they're everywhere. And I think the media has been, trying to call them out a little bit more, but yeah, what a time to be alive. 100%. Jarvis says inside the comment box, Jem is a straight line runner, no side to side wiggle in his game. Jem or Jarvis, that one particular run that he had in this last game against South Carolina, the one that was called back for, I think it was a Parker Brailsford hold. He looked good, man, going side to side on that one. But I agree, he does operate better kind of north to south. Same thing with Daniel Hill. And I think kind of what Mattress Matt was talking about is that toss sweep. When you get Daniel Hill out on a toss sweep, that's a big dog running it out there. 100%, man. And London, what's up, man? Saying Daniel Hill is a monster. 100%. All right. Yeah, I can't lie. I would like to see a little bit more deep ball just to know that it's there. I think eventually he's going to hit on some deep balls, but against South Carolina, I think he was like 1 for 9 or whatever against the Gamecocks. So, hey, fam, but I hope you guys had a good show. I've changed up the graphics just a little bit. It's nothing too much. I go back and forth with my graphics. I'm never satisfied with the product that I put out. It's just that's how I am. So I'm always adding different elements, and I want to make sure that you have a show that you can have aesthetics to kind of look off. And plus, that's how I also operate my show. I'm able to, work off graphics. So I appreciate you guys kicking it with me every single day live at 10 a.m. Central Time or as news happens. Today, what we got is 11 a.m. or 11:30 rather. You have Coach Kalen DeBoer, the SEC teleconference. If anything pops up from there, I'll be quick to get a video uploaded kind of as a midday video. And then, Thursday we'll have another live show. And then Friday will be our score prediction show leading into the LSU week. I know, look, the bye weeks, it's tough because you have 2 weeks and you have to kind of, churn to get to that next Saturday. But the next game is very important. A lot on the line every single week. Don't get bored. Don't get slowed down because this is a one-game season and job is definitely not done. There's a lot to go over, and I appreciate you guys kicking with me as news happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. So with that said, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Wednesday. I'll probably be back with a midday video depending on what Coach Kalen DeBoer says. So thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you all. Definitely drop a thumbs up inside the comment box. I'll catch you back on the Facebook channel and news as it happens right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I love y'all. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate the support. Coming to you from beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama on this fine Wednesday, November 5th. Kyle Henderson of